Now, please grab a seat. I want to welcome everybody to the June meeting of the Cowcatcher Division. And besides our normal program, we have a very special treat. Our operations crew, headed up by Jim Davis and David Rainey, have been diligently preparing hot dogs and hamburgers for our lunch. So please thank them as we go through the line. They've prepared quite a special meal for us. So not only do we have donuts, but of course we have the hot dogs. And while I'm talking about donuts, please feed the kitty in the back of the room for your drinks and your donuts. We got a great program today. We have our normal categories: tips and tricks, show and tell, deal and dud. And we will talk about we'll give out a name for the open layout tour at the end of the meeting. Our clinic today is a slideshow of images taken in and around Texas and the various other Midwestern states, put on by Steve Crise. Steve, where are you at? Oh, there you are. Hi, Steve. That's right. Steve's always puts on a great program, and his photography is superb. So you're in for a big treat today. I also want to thank Jim Ogden. Jim, raise your hand. Thanks for putting on the clinic last month, moving the mail to Texas. It was very informative, and I got a lot of positive comments about it. Do we have any? I see a lot of new faces, or some new faces in the crowd. And so I want to ask, first, let me introduce Bob. Would you stand up? We have Bob Barnett here, who is the LSR president. Thank you for attending, Bob. We appreciate it. Do what? And then we have other new faces. Who else? I see a new face here. Could you stand up and introduce yourself? Oh, good. Mark, thank you. So what do you model? You model N gauge? HO? And what railroad, what air thing?
It's I don't have as far as road names and stuff. I usually just model it. Looks really good.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you for attending. And did you say you're a member now?
Yeah.
Very good. Welcome. Hopefully you'll come to all the meetings. And there's another new face back here too.
First time attending the meeting, I'm excited. HO, very manageability, the Lone Star Highway portable layout, North Texas, Plano Spring Show. That there's a lot of things that I enjoy about the HO. I have one all.
Well, welcome, Nick. I'm glad to see you're here. And I just a reminder, he mentioned it, but the membership table we get at Train-A-Palooza and Grapevine, we meet a lot of wonderful people there. And obviously, Nick, we were able to rope him into joining the NMRA, and I'm glad to see he's here. Thank you, Nick. Any other new faces? Okay, guess that's it. David Crumpton, I want to thank you. First of all, I want to thank Texas Western for letting us hosting our meetings. And do you have any announcements or anything?
Welcome to the Texas Western. We're glad to have you here. Several new faces today, and you're here for the first time. We want to invite you after the meeting or during the break, walk around the layout and check out some of the new areas that are really going through some special development, especially the area in Hughes Springs that Mike Weiss is doing. Back in the very back, facing the disabled bathroom, you see an area that's being scenic by Darrell Cowles. That's going to be where the sawmill is going to be. Also in the Houston industrial area, Lots of lighting on the buildings. Boy, doesn't lighting really pop out a scene? And Ken Kaiser has done a wonderful job doing that. So take your time to walk around and check all of the new development on the layout. And if you have questions, please ask. We're grateful that you're here. Thank you. Thank you, Dick.
David, thank you very much. David Grind and the treasurer's report, please. Yep. Okay, Crip, come on.
My first announcement is don't ever rip your hamstring. May we had a beginning balance of $3,442. We had receipts of $93, expenses of $657. So our ending balance is $2,878, and our CD is at $23,761. My truck needed new tires. So no, most of it went to that display you see right there.
Beautiful.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
Okay, David, thank you very much. There's also a couple other people that really didn't stand up when I was asking for new members, and Mark isn't a new member, but Mark, this is Mark Lachey. He's the VP elect of the LSR who's attending too. And Mike, you want to introduce somebody? You want, huh? That's okay. Welcome. Wait a minute. The operations crew will take exception to that. Our hot dogs are supreme, just superior. Okay, upcoming events. Hey, don't forget about the LSR convention. It's next week. We got the NMRA National Convention in Chattanooga, which starts on July 27th and goes to August 2nd. And then the Austin Train Show is August 29th through the 30th. Then we also have the Temple Train Show, which is on September 20th, 19th, and 20th too. All the details on these events are on the Cowcatcher Division website. Go there, sign up, please attend. Okay, let's move on to AP announcements. Mike, any division AP announcements?
Yeah, I had toe surgery yesterday, so I'm moving a little slow. I apologize.
Well, that's not an AP announcement. Come on.
Oh, okay. We got several people working on a lot of stuff. Dr. Walter is working on his dispatcher. I think all he's got to do is turn in his paperwork. Jim Ogden owes me some paperwork, I think. Isn't that right, Mr. Ogden? All right. What about author? You got your author coming in, right? Got that. All right. Good deal. Good deal. If you've got any questions about the AP, let me know. If I'm not available, Dwayne is, so he can do that. We want to get everybody involved in it because it certainly improves everything about this hobby and get you tied in. Dick, you've got some stuff coming, don't you?
I'm working on it.
All right. That's what I thought you were going to say. Tom Pearson is also, he's got several that he's fixing to turn in. I think he's turning in electrical, civil, author, and dispatcher. So that's 4 for him. I think he's got in the pipeline. So anybody got any questions you need to ask me about anything for AP? All righty. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Dwayne?
Nothing new to hand out certificate wise this month. However, for everybody that Mike just called out by name that's working on things that's here, I have one question. Why are you here? You should be at home putting some work in. For those of you, so I think Mr. Ogden said he needed a couple hours. Somebody give him a job today, please. But seriously, the numbers out of D1 over the last 11 or so years are amazing. Y'all have really stepped up. And right now, if you go back and you look, and I think I mentioned this the other day when we were talking about it, there's been two big spikes in AP involvement throughout the history of it here in the LSR. The first one was the Division 8 one that took off in the 80s, and then the D3 one that ran the late 90s and the early 2000s. Right now, you guys are shaping up to be the biggest spike of the bunch. So congratulations on that. I know there's a lot of other work. Yeah, big time. There's still a lot of work around here to be done as far as evaluating y'all's work. I know some of you guys have got layouts that are at least 32 square feet in HO. So there's at least some scenery work we need to come to look at for some folks. So be looking at what you've got, put pen to paper, give me a call, give Mike a call. We're happy to come help. And as I always say, guys, get involved. It will make you a better modeler. I guarantee it.
Thank you, Dwayne. Okay, so now we have a section that we call question and answer, and it's for people who are having issues with a layout or on their layout. Has anybody got any questions for this group of experts? It's 50 people experts, group of experts. Any questions? Any issues on your layouts? Come on, nobody's having problems? Okay, well, I'm having a problem. I made my grandson a small HO layout, and I used hook horn couplers. I know, well, you got to consider the age group of the kids. So is there a way to gracefully unhook or to uncouple hook horn couplers? I mean, I know picks are used for KDs and stuff like that, but is there an easy way?
The best fix is to take a screwdriver, take the hook and horns off, and put KDs on it. I had KDs when I was 6, never had a problem with it. Replace them. Do yourself a favor.
Man, no mercy from this group.
And if you want to do that, I have a bunch of number 5 and number 5.
I got all the number 5s and screwdrivers I need. Okay, I get the point. I sure did. Just can't ask a simple question and get a simple answer. Nope. Jeff.
Guys, nobody on Zoom is gonna hear you unless you get to a microphone.
Wait.
Hand him.
Here you go. Here. Right here. Right here.
Oh, here you go.
Here we go. All right.
Thank you.
There are, back in the stores of brass tracks, special uncoupling wraps that will catch that thing hanging down that doesn't look very much like a glad hand. And get with me at the break and I'll get the information to get you and your kiddo together with one of those uncoupling.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else having questions or issues on their layout that they need criticism on? or, or ridicule, or whatever, Nobody else has got issues? Everything's working great. Okay. I got thick skin, I can tell you that. Okay, let's move into tips or tricks. Who's got, Mike Mackey, I know you got a tip or trick.
So I know everybody in this room knows all about this thing, but I'm going to bring it up anyway and show you. I was recently introduced to this little bitty tool right here. It's called a truck tuner. It's from Micromart. And if you have never had this or used one or tuned your trucks with this, it is remarkable. You stick it, you take the wheel set out, put it in the truck, spin it. It's got a blade on there and it completely rounds out the inside of that place where the axle rides. It gives you an increase of distance and less friction to a factor of about 20 to 25% better roll on your cars. It's unbelievable. when you spin this in there, it will round out that point in there to make it exact for the way that the axle fits in there. And the friction is so much less. And you'd be surprised at how much junk and how impure that hole is on the inside of that casting. Tom Pearson is going to be giving a clinic at National on improved operations and and less derailments. He's going to be talking about this tool right here as part of that clinic. I'm going to leave it back here. If you want to come see it, look at it. It's less than $20 from Micromark, but I guarantee it makes a huge difference.
Mike, do you put that do you turn it manually in the
Yes.
truck?
And what you do, if you take a truck, you put this in there, squeeze it just a smidge, and then spin this manually with your fingers. Now it's only got a blade on one side. Okay. So you got to flip it over and do the other side and then do the other end of the truck. I wish they'd do it where there were blades on both ends of it, but they didn't do that way. So and it was supposed to be a design factor that was, specific for a reason. They didn't want to have blades on both ends, but I'm going to tell you what, I was amazed at how much junk and how much it smoothed out the stuff and cleaned out the inside of the trucks. Doc? Here. Yep. Yeah, but I'm gonna. It's amazing how much this improves the. Sorry, serious.
Hang on, you must have changed the frequency. This one works.
Boy, everybody is.
So the important thing is you can gain a lot of less friction and improved operations by using this thing. I'm going to leave it back here at the back table. If you want to come see it, look at it, you're welcome to. Yes, sir.
So did you use this on your military train to increase the number of cars pulled to over 200 or something like that?
No, I haven't done that yet. Okay.
But you will, right?
Key phrase, but no, I've been working through those cars, and it's made a huge difference in
Great.
the way the rolling stock
Okay,
performs.
terrific. Thank you.
Mike, I have a question for you about
Yes, sir.
that tuner.
Yep.
I have, on some of my passenger cars, the axles instead of needle point are blunt.
Yeah, don't use this on
It
that.
won't work with those. That's what I wanted to know. Thank
No.
you. In other words, just change the wheels on those cars. So,
Correct. Well, you could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you. I don't know where this microphone came from.
Okay, any other tips or tricks?
All right. Jeff Cornelius, I'm going to reprise what I made a show and tell at the Texas Western meeting because I showed up late. I'm going to put this over here under the camera. Well, it is not a clipper.
Jeff, hold it up to your, hold the microphone. Hold the microphone close to your mouth.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. This is not a toenail clipper, although it can be used for toenails. It is a cuticle clipper, but it is primarily a sprue cutter. These things used to be in the beauty supply store that we would come to visit to get various modeling tools and materials. And then it disappeared from there. whatever company it was that used to make them, stopped making them. For a little while, it would show up in a multiple $12 set. And then it didn't show up at all in the beauty supply store. But this one here, the brand name on it is Equate. It's a Walmart made and sold product. Go to Walmart, back to the back of their cosmetic place, and dead center, about eye level in the back, that's where I found this one. So it works like a nail clipper. It clips screws very quickly, and it's inexpensive.
Okay.
At Walmart.
Walgreens.
Walgreens also.
Yeah, Walgreens has them with, nail clippers and that kind of stuff.
Good.
Okay.
Multiple sources.
Thank you, Jeff. Dwayne.
There you go. All right, I want to dovetail something onto what Mike was talking about making your trucks operate reliably. If you do not have an NMRA gauge, why not? Yeah, smarty. Everybody uses that end right there to check their track gauge. Well, guess what, fellas? Right there is two little holes. You want to check the gauge on every single truck, on every single axle of every locomotive, because guess what? You're going to go through your stuff and find out one's a little tight, one's a little sloppy, and all that sort of thing. And it will be shocking. And it is revolutionary when you start getting this stuff in gauge, how well your layout suddenly runs. But it is surprises me no end. How many guys are like, well, I don't know why that car is always derailing. I said, where's your NMRA gauge? He hands it to me and I go up there and go, well, the wheel set right there is junk. And that one's out too. Replace those two. It'll run better. And if you've got a press, you can actually pull them in or pull them out as you need to. But you'll be surprised if you start using your gauge and go through the stuff brand new out of the box and it's not dead on. So you can play around with it. Yep, because you'll get a wheel that's not, dead straight. Yep, you'll get one out of square. So this is a real good way to find that sort of thing. And you've probably already got it in your toolbox. If you don't, get a hold of them and get you one, because this right here, go through the paperwork that comes with it, fellas, because I'll bet you dollars to donuts, almost everybody in this room does not utilize this gauge for everything it can do. For example, how many of you guys know which side of this gauge to use to determine the setback for your loading docks? Or do you just put a box car next to it and go, that'll do? Because I got a news flash for you. If you're in an narrow gauger like I am and you measure it by the width of a box car or whatever, then all of a sudden somebody brings a K28 over, which had a really wide tender, nothing clears. But if you use that little notch right there on the bottom of the gauge, it will tell you what your setback should be. Set these two little points down like you're checking the track gauge, and then your loading dock should not touch that right there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This thing does dozens of different things. Pull out the paperwork if you didn't throw it away, and read through it and look what this thing will do for you. There's a lot of stuff in here that if you'll use this gauge will really help out your layout.
And if you threw away your paperwork, we had a clinic by, I forget the gentleman's name. He was on the standards committee of the NMRA.
Yeah.
Who put on a clinic here a year or two ago on how to use that gauge.
Yep. And it's out on YouTube. So
yes.
Well, there's that too. Yeah. You can probably find it. They probably got it online somewhere. Yeah.
You have a set of wheels that are slightly tight.
Uh-huh.
You don't have a press.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pull the wheel out and make sure that it's
Okay.
Repeat the question.
So
Dwayne,
So what if you
Mr.
don't have
Stickler didn't use a microphone?
Yeah. If you don't have a press and you've got a wheel set that's a little tight, how do you get them back out again? If there's a machinist in the room, he's going to freak, mainly steel. But you can go with a janky solution. I've done it in the past, and it's brutal, it's ugly, but it works. I actually made I've set a piece of wood in behind it. I cut a notch in it, slid it down into that, and then popped it in there where I could get a little bit of pressure on it and help work it out. That's not the best way to do it. They actually make a wheel puller, somebody does, that you can use, and that's actually the better way to do it from what I understand. But you got a better idea?
The cheap and bestest way is if you have a small vise, put the wheel set in the vise with the wheel you want to move at the top, take a nail set and a little hammer and tap slightly, and that'll push the axle into the wheel a little bit. You just keep checking until you get the gauge you want. The Northwest short line puller is the best way to go, though.
Yeah, well, not those kind of vices.
You can see the puller for making it wider.
Yeah.
What if it's too wide? Will the puller also push it in?
Yeah, that's when you put it back in the vise. And that's another reason why I use the wood too, because if I've got one, I can drop it into the vise on my woodworking bench, and then I've got a piece of wood holding this axle in place, and I can put a piece of wood up against this one and just slowly press it back in. It's all over the map, and it's not like one manufacturer is always tight, and it's not like you're going to go, well, I bought these AccuRails and I know they're always going to be a little tight, and I buy the Athearn Blue Box and they're always going to be a little loose. It doesn't work like that. It is all over the map. And they don't have to be off by very much, and it will really mess up the reliability of how well your layout runs, because they're designed to have a wee bit of slop in them to some degree, but not as much. Yes, sir.
Microphone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jeff just said that the wheel puller for Northwest Shortline will actually push or pull. So yeah, yeah. So good to know. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that since Mike had brought up the Turner. The Turner actually does a really good job. The only problem is they only offer it in a couple of scales and only in standard gauge. So one of these days I got to buy one and cut it in half and narrow one up for me. Mark, if you took one and actually added a little bit to it, you could make it work for SN3. Actually narrow it just a little bit, and you could get it to work for SN3. But yeah, they're really good little tools.
Microphone.
I don't know how many of you remember Pat Coughlin, but he had an aluminum jig milled that was exactly correct for replacing locomotive axles with the gear exactly centered and the wheels exactly on gauge. And you'd use it for any wheel, just put it in there and it'll tell you immediately without messing with more than one part whether the wheel is in gauge or not.
Yeah, a good quarter gauge will help you with your steam engines and things. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Any more tips or tricks? Daryl.
How many of you have some of these at home?
Just a few.
Yeah, nice try. I had occasion to, do I have the right one? Anyway, I had occasion to paint some Priestler unpainted figures. And I used to have a wooden dowel that I'd cut little pieces off of, and I put tacky on them and I held them up. These work really well. Okay. And they come in multiple convenient sizes, but you can put some of the tacket, which is this kind of stuff at school teachers and people like that. You can tack paper to the wall, whatever you need to do temporarily, and it stays sticky, but you can put your figures in that and it holds them still so that you can paint them properly. If you've got standing figures, and you're using acrylic, paint their shoes first, give it a second, and then stick them in there. That will still hold them up really nicely while you're doing it. The second thing I've got, and I don't know, saw this on some military modelers. These are AK weathering pencils. Okay, how many of you have seen these or have some of these? Okay, so this is not new. Yeah, these are excellent. These will do very fine scratches on things if you need a really, really small scratch. If you need it to be a little bit larger, you can dampen them with a drop of water and work it a little bit and they will basically dissolve and make a much larger piece of weather. I bought it for the chipping and for the rust type stuff uses on that, but these are really, really good.
To add to that, Daryl,
Huh?
once you get it applied to the model, you can also come back with a wet brush or a wet Q-tip, and then you can manipulate the color that way too.
Yeah. Or you can take it back off if you went, oh,
Yeah, nice. And that's a nice feature too.
Yeah.
They also
Okay,
have
hey,
that at a
Daryl,
great
as long
big
as
set.
you're up here, you want to do a show and tell on the diorama? As you all remember, this is our Promote the Hobby diorama that we started about a year ago. We started that effort, and Daryl led a team that came up with two suggestions. One was a pop-up canopy, which we're going to use this fall, and also a diorama to be displayed at public libraries to show people who are out of the mainstream of model railroaders how intricate this hobby can be and how interesting it can be.
amazing as some of us may find this, some people are unaware of model railroading. I know that's a shock. Dave and Harold and I had a committee. We came up with the promotional canopy that we'll be using at Mayfest. He's going to be doing that. We also came up with the idea of making a portable display that could be set up at libraries, convention center, or not convention centers, city halls, places like that. So we decided to try to do that. Dick found a place that could make, this was quite the ordeal, but he ended up with a really nice case for it. And this furniture grade base was made by Mr. Richardson that goes under it. This is using, for to speed up this process, I used the Woodland Scenics buildings, pre-built buildings, and then just added additional weathering and details and things like that because they're already lit. So the buildings themselves can be turned on and off. If the library or the area doesn't have electricity available for it, it's still attractive the way it is, but primarily it looks a lot better if it's turned on. A lot of details added. I drew this up in auto. I drew this up in my AutoCAD program, which is just me, but that's just the way I work. Anyway, and then I cut out from Woodland Scenics, they give you a footprint of everything. So in AutoCAD, I put in the footprints of everything. And then when I got the foam cut, this is the foamular type foam that's really nice, closed foam. When I got the foamular cut, I could just simply lay out the footprints and find out that what's going to fit, what's not going to fit. And one of the things that we found that didn't fit, there's a church in a box up there that was just too much. It would have made it way too much. There's got some interesting buildings. I like the little moonlight motor court down here on the end. Very cute. You got a post office, a grocery store, general store, and then the gas station. The gas station, I was optimistic for back in the old days. I tried to make the whole scene about 1990s, early 2000s. So I've got some modern cars in it so that children would recognize it a little bit more. The gas prices are $2.49. I did that in Photoshop and printed it off. So you know this is a while back. Also in Photoshop, I changed the name on the gas station. Henry V was my grandfather. His name was Henry Van Meter Cowles. So I made it Henry V's just for fun. But there's things happening in the back here. We've got things being unloaded for the department store, the hardware store, and the grocery store. And behind the deal, there's a little bit of farmland to help give it a more of a rural feel back here. One of the things that's in the little truck back here in the back is a box with a brand new bicycle in it, which I think is just kind of clever. And I have no idea where I got it. It was in my junk box. I cut the Walthers grain elevator, cut about a front third off of that with my Micromark tool. I had to build it and then slice it on my Micromark saw so that I would have a place for the information here. And so you scan that and it goes to our landing page on the Cowcatcher website that says, hey, I'm interested in model railroading. Here's some links, things to do. Questions? Thank you. No. Thank you. It was fun. Thank you very much.
Daryl, great job. Okay, there's,
By the way, I'm sorry, one more thing. One of the things that we hadn't tested about this whole thing was would the library take it, which was kind of important. So I loaded this in my car last Thursday, carried it up to our local library, walked in, said, "Is the manager there?" "Yes, sir." Watauga Library. And so I took it up to the library and I told her who I was and what we were doing and things. I said, "Would you like to look at it?" And she said, "Okay." So I went back out, opened up the back of the car, and it was in there. And she was kind of disappointed because she wanted it right now. And I said, "Well, I need to take it to a meeting first, and you can." So I take it to her Monday. So they will start displaying it for a month. They are in a group. The libraries apparently have a group network, and she is going to help us then move it month to month into other libraries for display. So that was one of those things I went, they'll take it. Okay. And here's a letter that I gave it to them that's promoting it into their library and why.
Daryl, thank you. David.
Will there be a way to track what response we get from that particular display?
Well, and we get the run. It's trackable by what operating system standard, iOS or yeah, it's got a ton of tracking on there. On the QR code.
I knew that. I just wanted to say.
Okay, any other questions for Daryl? Daryl, fantastic job. He's been working on this thing. I mean, we've all been working on it for about a year, but the last month he's basically been working on this 40 hours a week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And yeah, so he'd have to get several platinum spikes. If he didn't have his MMR, we'd give him another MMR too. Okay, there's another show and tell vehicle or rail car up here underneath the light. Who's got this? Russell.
The rail cars feel the glue to the track.
At least we hope not.
About 6 weeks ago, I was going through the Narrow Gauge Gazette, and they had this really cool engineering car. This guy built it in G scale all the way down to HON3. And I had enough wood laying around. I go, give it a shot. And originally, I was just going to build it for fun, but it turned out it's going to be a contest model that I'm going to be taking to Austin and to Chattanooga. So basically what you're seeing here is what I did is I had some roof stock and some siding stock. It was a 40-foot car. I actually cut it down, the roof down, cut everything down to about 20 feet, made a flat car out of it. And then on the inside of it, there's an office. But I made all the rails. I used bronze wire, soldered all together. I have the burnt fingertips to prove it. It's got a brass cap on it. It's got a full brake system underneath it, all the rods, airlines, all that fun stuff. But my favorite part about it, actually, you can read the blueprints. It's got a T-square. HON3.
No, blueprint.
Oh, it was on a page of a magazine. Okay. And you take your HON3 scale and you put it on and you figure it out. But it's got a wood burning stove, which I meant to put the lumber in. I've got a lumber pile and I'm gonna put it in. I haven't done it yet. T-square, you get a triangle for prints. I call this the big meeting. You got your head engineer and these two guys discussing it. It's got all the glass in it. It's framed out on the. This is the R&D railroad, which is Russell and Deborah's railroad. It's our personal railroad. It's not a. It exists in Louisville.
DNR sounds better.
We talked about that and it made me want to go lease a car because there's a DNR leasing. That's how I looked at it. Well, I call it research and development. The labeling's already there. Sorry. To rebrand, I'm going through a rebranding with my company around that's very expensive. Whole thing goes on. Do not resuscitate. But the truss rods are bronze. The lanterns, they don't make you can't buy a printed lantern for the 1870, that range. They don't make them. Trust me, I ask everybody that do anything about narrow gauge stuff. They go, no. Dwayne said he's actually going to scan one and start printing them so we can have some of them. So basically what the lanterns are is, I went to Michael's. Was it Michael's? No, Hobby Lobby. It's two glass beads, an earring stud, and a sequin. So I made a kerosene lantern out of that. Can't hear what?
And now I'm going to ask you the same thing everybody asked me when I made a ceiling fan light up. You know, they asked me, the first thing they asked is, do the blades turn? So you made that little lantern, does it light up?
Well,
also,
It's a rough crowd today,
Yeah.
Russell.
don't tempt me, you know that. Because
exactly, the gauntlet's been thrown.
I'll actually make it where you got to take a match and light it.
There you go. Well, for what it's worth, I'm going to have to ding you on conformity. Back in the 90s, they were building out the area out by my office. And I've seen the very scene you have depicted in this car. And I know your conformity is not right, because when I got down to the street corner, over the hood of a truck for the city of Allen were two guys in starched white collared shirts, brand new blue jeans, boots that hadn't seen a speck of dust on them. And they're looking over the blueprints on the hood of the truck. Standing about 6 feet away from those guys are four guys in jeans, polo shirts, work boots. Standing about 8 feet from those guys is about 10 guys lining either side of a trench. And in the bottom of the trench are two guys digging like they're heading for China.
Right.
And I took a head count and I looked over my buddy. I said, there are 14 guys watching two guys dig a hole. That's your tax dollars at work.
Yep.
So you're short a few figures.
Yeah, my grandpa used to talk about the WPA. He says it took four guys to work a ditch. It says one to go into the bathroom, one coming from the bathroom, one to watch it, and one to dig it.
Yeah.
So
it's also missing hook and horn couplers too, for what it's worth. So just FYI.
It's in the drawer on the table. It's just you look. Anyway, the brakes. It's got a brake system on it. It's all scratch. Except for the air cylinder or the ram. I started this about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. I've been thinking about it for a while. It's like most of my stuff, it's beat up. It's supposed to be beat up, it's supposed to look that way. If you notice too, the glass is dirty. It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be clean. So if you ever do that, what you do is just make I get some acrylic paint. Like I use a desert sand, real thin, smear it on there, then take a Q-tip and clean it up. Handrails. These are all made out of bronze wire and then a piece of brass that I had to make a gate.
There you go.
Yeah, I burnt the hell out of my hand doing it, but I'm gonna make a jig. You don't start doing this more often, but they're soldered together. It didn't take that long, probably 4 hours or so to make it, but it's just that added detail in the back. I know it's not prototypical, but my story is behind this is that the small railroads broke because his wife always shops at Amazon. They just got an old flat car. They had parts off a passenger car and they put something together, and that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, we're looking forward to Austin. I hope a lot of y'all are down there. We're hoping for full contest trim. Then we're off to Chattanooga after that, and I'm taking the models that we did well in Louisiana with the Bascule Bridge and the Circle J and my trains. So anyway, y'all come to Austin. It's gonna be a good time down there. The model contest room is always fun. There's always good stuff to see. And I encourage you, put some stuff in. Join us down there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, join us Friday night and learn how to judge a model. Ask anybody in this room that has done it. It is eye-opening and you will learn a lot. Number two, any of the new MMRs who have earned your plaques this year and you're coming to the convention, your plaque with you, and we will present it to you in front of the region. So just a little reminder.
Now, one more thing, I'm hoping after the contest, hopefully all these models will merit. I should be able to get my AP for cars. I think a couple more. I need Dwayne and Jeff to judge, but I should have everything for my AP for cars, which will leave me, I think, 2 more to go.
Very good, Russell. Extremely good. Harold.
This is a combination tip and show and tell. So some of you have been at the layout. Now I have a layout that's been built for about 20 years and it's upstairs and there's one step up to get to it. Those of you who've been there. And I was pretty much a lone railroader and I thought everything was fine. And then I had some folks coming to help operate and Mike Ross hit his head on the duck under because there's a little duck under right where you step up, there's a duck under. So after Mike hit his head a couple of times, David, you want to show this telltale slide? I modified it and put a couple of telltales down so you see it. See those hanging down, those are just pieces of plastic. So this illustrates, all our modelers talk about, you photograph what you do and then you can see what's wrong and you can, well, one of the things is have people who don't know your layout intimately to then give you feedback. So that was the telltale. And then 2 years ago, the layout was on the National Convention for display. And those of us who are used to ducking your head and stepping down, which isn't a natural thing, they said, you ought to have a handrail. That was 2 years ago. I did nothing about it. I said, I'm not going to show it again. But then 2 months ago, we had it here as the open house. And again, several people said, Brian said, stepping down and ducking your head is hard. So I finally got around to doing what people suggested. And next slide, David, was put a handrail in so that you could support yourself as you step down and bent your head and don't go through contortion. So just got a 1.5 inch dowel and a couple of supports and put a handrail in. So that's a macro model, not a micro model. Are we there, David?
We're getting.
But again, the real thing is that if you don't photograph the model, you can't maybe improve it. And if you don't have people who aren't familiar with your layout, you may miss some things. So I think this is a big help. Handrail and 2 steps and no one's going to sue.
Very good, Harold. Okay, Deb.
Okay.
So I know a lot of you have seen the different paintings I've done, and a lot of you have tried to get me interested in the history of railroads. I blame all of you that have done that on this painting. So I'm going to take this to Austin. This is depicting not the first train that came to Austin, but the, however you want to lay it.
How about if I hold it up so they can see?
Not the first one, but actually the second one came to Austin. It was the Houston and Texas Central, came to Austin in 1871 on December 28th, 3 days after Christmas. The first train came on Christmas Day, but it was a maintenance away, not a passenger train. So that's all of that information that's now clogging up my brain, making me forget where my keys are all of your fault.
Very nice. Okay, if there's no more show and tell, we'll move into deal or dud. We got, okay, yes, Steve.
I published a book. Very quickly, in 2014, there was a slide collection that was made available to me through a model railroad club in Glendale, California, that had stored these slides underneath their layout. They didn't want them there anymore because they took up a lot of room. There were 22,000 slides in this collection. And since 2014, we've gone through all of them. We kept about 500 of them. The rest of them we sold on eBay to finance this book. But since that time, print on demand has really flourished. And within the last year, they now make horizontal format books for self-publishing. This is one of them. We're going to be doing a series of books, but this is our first one. And it features a rail fan by the name of Bob Gautier, who lived in Southern California and shot prolifically. If you have 27,000 slides, you can imagine. And those were only half of what he shot. We don't know what happened to the other half of the collection. But anyway, we went through them, picked out the best shots. Unfortunately, it's mostly Southern California, but there are a few images in here of Texas, which we're going to see in the show later. But this is a labor of love. It's not a project designed to make any money. We thought there were enough images in this man's collection that they were worthwhile for people to see. They busted a lot of myths that people had about railroads, what was made and what was not made, what was a fantasy model, what was not a fantasy model. So it has a lot of uses for people that are modeling, and this is part of the reason why we wanted to do that. So it's if you do feel so inclined to purchase a book, it's at bobgautier.com. It has its own website. So have at it, and thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, Trapper, you want to bring up the deal or dud?
And Steve, since you have that done, where's my paperwork for author?
I thought I already did that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Let's double check that. If not, you need to get me paperwork.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to have our normal deal or dud, and then we have a special edition of deal or dud after these are all done. Okay, so first one. Okay, last three. Everybody, first of all, everybody got a red ticket. Everybody got a red ticket. Whoever doesn't have a red ticket, raise your hand. Okay, everybody's got one. Okay, last three digits are 722. Who's got it? Brian? Okay, pick a number, Brian. Pick a box.
You have one.
Cheers. All right.
Yeah, you might as well hold on to it.
25.
$25 gift certificate at Model Train Crossing. Once again, please tell Model Train Crossing, thank you for contributing to the division to these gift certificates. Okay, next deal or dud number is 713. Oh, again? You're like grind. Okay, pick a number. I did too. I thought you won last month too. You got to get the box open in 5 seconds or less. 4, 3, 2, 1.
He deserves it.
Hey, you got the milk duds. Okay.
Get back over here. Young man, turn around there.
I need to take this.
$690. $690.
It has to be.
Hey, that's my thing. 690, going once, going twice. Want that? Go 3 times. Was it David Rain? He's out, go. It's like number 3, right?
Okay, here's one right by it. 693.
I'll get that. Not again.
That's really why you didn't want him.
What was the other number?
690.
No. Was that Rainy? Okay.
Went 1, 2, I'll go 3. Knew it's gonna be different.
Six nine zero. No, I didn't, sorry. I didn't pull that.
Okay, last number. David, you want to pull it?
Seven, 2, 6.
726. All right, Nick, way to go.
Oh, yeah. Come to here, you will.
Oh, yeah, that's you won last month.
Thank you very much. There you go. Oh, good, thank you.
What is it? 15, 10 bucks. 10 bucks gift certificate, model train cross. No, we have got one more. Okay, so as you may have picked up on when Daryl and when we ordered all the Woodland Scenics kits for the diorama, we had one that wouldn't fit. Yes, sir. So we're gonna raffle or not auction, raffle this off. And it's a community church from Woodland Scenics, lit, everything like that. So we're going to pull one more number from the dealer dud pile, and whoever gets it, whoever's number it is, will get this. Huh? Yeah, it's $100 kit. $705. Are you kidding me?
He needs a raise though.
Yeah.
Cole needs to go to church.
Yeah, probably.
There you go, Cole.
Eric, I think you're right.
You're welcome.
Been to church in like 40 years.
Cole, you want this box? My travel button. Okay, that's it. So it's I got 11 o'clock right now, so let's take a 15-minute break. We'll get back together again, and Steve will do his presentation. Steve, thank you for putting on this clinic. I'm sure everybody's anxious to see your slides of the Texas railroads and the Midwestern Railroad. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Good morning. It is still morning, right? Yeah, okay. So this morning, I titled this Railroads of Texas and Beyond. And most slides are not mine. They're from my collection. I, being a native Southern Californian, didn't spend a lot of time out here. So fortunately, through collection acquisition and other means, people have shared things with me. I've compiled the show just for today, and it's relatively short. So have a good time. If you have any questions, just shout them out. I'll repeat them, and we'll just go from there. There you go. So quickly talk about this. This was my first experience with GPT, something, AI for short. A friend of mine is super into that and said, hey, I would really like a thing that looks like a postcard that says greetings from Texas, and it's got to have trains and Texas things in it. And about literally 5 minutes later, he sends me this. Pretty scary. Anyway, next slide, please. So we're going to kind of go railroad by railroad by railroad. And so let's get started. So this is a slide I acquired. Obviously, I didn't shoot it. I have no idea who made this photograph. I had no idea where it was. This is part of a sale that I did on eBay. And the person who bought the slide shared a lot of information with me on the slide. The slide did have a date and no location, but the person who bought it knew a lot about it, and he was able to share that information with me. Next slide, please. Now that's what it looked like. Generally, somebody sees that, they throw it away. But I'm telling you, if you have old slides that look like this, don't throw them away. They can be revived. Next slide, please. Also, invest in a rubber stamp. And if you have slides, you have prints, even if they're your archive or you created them, at least let us know where they came from by putting your moniker or your print, your name, something, and maybe a date and a location if possible, if you remember. It helps to keep your legacy intact. Otherwise, what did you spend all that money on film and travel and food and airlines maybe? Hold on to your legacy and give us a little bit of information about what your image is. Next, please. Yes. Well, I'll try to remember as I go along, and I will announce that. This particular horrible, the other one that was all magenta, that was Ektachrome. Ektachrome is the biggest offender, especially the early Ektachromes, because it didn't have the stabilization that the later films, E6 films, had. They were just awful. So, and there were other films like GAF and AGFA that were terrible, but I don't want to get in. That's a whole nother lecture. Yes, there's a whole bunch of them, RGB being one of the worst. Next, please. Yet another photo that came from that. Same collection. Again, I didn't know anything about it, and the person who ended up buying it shared that information with me. And apparently, this is a rare shot because, from what I understand, this was an overnight train. And to see it and catch it at this location during daylight hours made it special, and it got a special price on eBay. So next slide, please. So this is from the Bob Godier collection that I displayed the book a little earlier. And most of these photos, I had to go through a lot of restoration to make them look decent for publication, but also to be shared. And Bob, out of his slides that we had, and I mentioned earlier, there were about 22,000 of them, maybe a half dozen were labeled. No name. The only reason I know the date is that Kodak would print it, or it would be embossed on the slide mount somehow, either at the processors or later on. But he was very sparse with his information, so I had to do a lot of guessing. People like Ken Fitzgerald, who I think most of you may know, longtime rail fan here, and he works professionally for railroad, helped me out with a lot of these locations. Next, please. Nobody could help me out with this. But it's a cool shot. I like these. I like these old OP Trainmaster locomotives with the kind of the Art Deco style overhang on the back of the roof. A little extra styling for not a lot extra money, but the also the technical aspects of the opposed engine that these things were adapted from a marine engine and applied to rail technology. Next, please. Yes.
So those clear line poles I saw about the shop, and those generally assigned.
To where now? Thank you. I'll make a note of that. Thank you. This was a slide that unfortunately was so bad off, I could just make a black and white image out of it, but it had enough historical value. I thought it was worth the time. Obviously, the sign from another generation that is displaying a segregated waiting room inside the station. And again, I didn't know where this was, and there are groups on Facebook, like the Frisco Facebook or Railroads of the Midwest, and I would put that up, and people would comment on that, even told me what that interstate waiting room meant, because some states were segregated in certain ways, others were not. So when they got off the train, there was a completely set of different rules, which makes my head spin, completely ridiculous. But that's what it was in those days, and that's what this slide shows. So I think it does have some historical relevance, even to our times today. Next slide, please. That's a pullback view, and apparently this train has reached its destination in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That's as far as it was going. And just out of curiosity, next slide, please. I looked it up, and boy, the station is still there. That's it, 2026 view of that station. There has been something changed with it. They had an addition that's different from the original photo that I had. I don't know what that is. Looks like an elevator shaft to me. For ADA, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know what the status of this building is. I don't know who owns it, but I thought that was an interesting comparison from the other photo. Next, please. All right, let's move on to Missouri Pacific, something I know very little about. So next slide, please. Again, you can't mistake where this was taken. Yeah, isn't that something, with no freeway interference? So a nice, clean, wonderful shot of the beautiful skyline prior to the invasion of the interstates. So, and it's such a, what's that? Okay. I can barely hear what you're saying. So, okay, sorry. There's a microphone if you want to get involved. Anyway, again, Ken helped me with this one because he's a nut about this thing, and it wasn't dated. It didn't have information on that like that. So he dated it about April 1975 because he had a similar slide. Next, please. A reverse angled view. I think we're looking east. And apparently, this is again in Bob Gaudier's slide, and it's in the book. But apparently, Bob spent a day at Tower 55, stood there and just whatever direction the train came, he would just shoot it. So he got quite a few captures from that event, and we were able to kind of put the story together after I was able to figure out where these places are. From people's slides, you can generally kind of put together not only a story of what they did on a trip or a day or throughout their life. Once you can get these things kind of back in order, it's almost like reverse engineering somebody's life through pictures. Next, please. Again, another shot from Tower 55 area. And I'm told that we're looking north on this one, which made the BN engine kind of interesting because I didn't see a lot of there. I guess that's from the Fort Worth and Denver line that came down through here. See, I'm learning. Next, please. And I was told that this was the Texas Zephyr. No? It's the what?
The Lone Star.
Oh, the Lone Star. Okay, great. So somebody told me wrong. That's the danger. You put something on a Facebook page and you get all this information, and then these people start arguing. Fortunately, you don't call each other names, but you have to decide who's right, who's wrong. So I rode the wrong horse in on this one. So I'll make a correction on that. Thank you. Anyway, we're looking north, and boy, look at that roller coaster track over the main line and back down. That would not fly today. Next, please. This is from a series of duplicate slides that I bought. Alcione, I don't know if you've ever heard of that name. Okay, all right, great. Yes, he made thousands of duplicate slide sets, and I do mean thousands. And I talked to him probably about 10 years ago, and he didn't even know how many sets he had. So this is from one of those sets. And the interesting thing about this locomotive that I had no idea about, other than it being a Baldwin product, obviously it's one of the what they call the baby face model. It was the only 3 units that the Missouri Pacific owned, and they could only be operated together. Right? Oh, okay, good. So AI was right. Okay. Uh, and the reason for that was that they had a very special MU system. So they could not be paired with anything else on the system. Uh, excuse me? Yes. Right. Which was also, anybody remember when the SP bought those German hydraulics in the early 60s? Cross Maffei. That was the same problem. They came over with air actuated controls, and which the SP, I should say, under warranty, they changed it to electric, and that was just one of the failures. That how do you miss something like that? I have no idea. But anyway, that's what I thought made this really interesting, and I didn't know anything about that until I started researching. So, in the process of making this show, I also learned a lot that I hope I can share with you. Next slide, please. So again, I'm not really familiar with this area, but there's enough in this photo. It's not Australia. It's Austin. So Austria, that's right. It could be Austria, but there's no snow. And, no lederhosen people are wearing in the station. So it can only be one thing. So those are the little clues that you try to look for. And in doing so, when I get a slide, it takes me about an hour, sometimes longer, per image to get it to a point where I feel it's either publishable or displayable. So it takes a lot of time. And then there's the research, which can take even longer, days sometimes. So anyway, next. MKT. Oh, I'm glad I extended this part then because I didn't have a lot of information, a lot of images that were available to me for this. So let's move ahead. Next, please. Again, back at Tower 55. So you can see how he spent a day there in April of 1975, maybe, shooting everything that went down the track. And if there was anything date-wise that was provided on these slides, it was most likely, or it was done factually by the processor. So the processing date is what I generally use for slides that have no information. And that could be a month, 2 months, 6 months old. I don't know. I don't know how long this guy took before he could afford to process all this film. So that's the dates are just a mere suggestion. Next, please. This is a photo that comes from the Malcolm D. McCarter collection. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, but he was a gentleman that lived in Arizona, and he collected over his lifetime about 70,000 images. He was a photographer, but most of them were from collections. And this is a builder's photo from the Alco company. As you know, when they would produce something for a railroad, they would generally photograph it. You're probably more familiar with the steam photographs that they produce. So as time progressed, the clients wanted color. Next slide. So how many in this room have ever shot Kodachrome? Wow, look at those hands. Okay. So we're all familiar with Kodachrome and how wonderful it was, right? This is 8x10 Kodachrome. It's a different format. This is the actual size, the actual image that was in the camera in Schenectady when they were making the exposure. I'll pass this around. Please give it back. And you can get a kind of a close-up look at it. I just want to point out one little thing on this that you'll see up here in the corner are these little squiggly cuts that are made in the film. Well, that is so when you're loading the 8x10 film in total darkness, you know which way to put it in the camera. You feel it with your right hand, it goes this way and the dark slide is up here. So you don't load it backwards and get no image. You had to load it this way. The only way you would know is with these little squiggles. These squiggles also told you what type of film it was. So you had to memorize these, what they call code notches. All sheet film had that. So this indicates to me this was Kodachrome 25, not even 64, because they didn't have it yet in 1950. So next slide, please. So there it is. You can see the code notches up there. And by the way, a little caveat about this. I don't use a scanner to scan my material. I use a camera. So I started doing that about 12, 15 years ago when I got 27,000 slides that needed to be done. And I found that the camera was much quicker and a little bit more accurate. It gave me more flexibility because with a camera, unlike a scanner, I could create a raw file. A raw file gives me a whole lot more to work with. So I created a system, a light box and a camera so I can shoot any format from 11 by 14 all the way down to 8mm. And I did do a book for somebody else that not very photographically accurate in terms of images, but it was done all from 8mm movie film. So there's a wide range of possibilities. Next, please. Another one of Bob's photos. Now, Bob was famous for going to the Cajon Pass on almost a weekly basis and sitting on a hill and shooting whatever came down the track. That's how you end up with 40,000 slides. So this is just one of those oddball things. He obviously noticed that this is not MKT territory. And I believe this, it was on a Union Pacific coal train. It looks empty, so it's probably going back to the field. They had an offload center in Long Beach for the longest time. And they're probably returning empties to the Midwest. I'm not sure where, but like I said, Bob didn't write a lot of things down. Next, please. This is actually my photo of an MKT locomotive. When I was traveling to Kansas for my grandmother's funeral in 1981, on our way back with my brother, we got into an accident. He was driving a brand new Volkswagen Scirocco, I think it was called, red, tricked out, really nice. Well, he was passing a car and then they made a left turn in front of him. It was a big, gigantic two-door Pontiac. It made a little dent in the Pontiac door, but it really screwed up the Volkswagen. Being that it was a Volkswagen and it was literally, I think the first production year, there were no parts in the United States for this vehicle. We were stuck in Tulsa for 5 days. There was no overnight FedEx at that time. They were just getting that process to speak off the ground. They called around all over. They couldn't get it. So we lived graciously with the mechanics. They invited us to live with them while the car was being repaired. So every day we go to the shop with them, wait for the part, and by 5 o'clock it didn't come. We go back home, have dinner, go to sleep, wake up next day. Finally it came. We got our parts. We got out of there. But this is my souvenir photo from that. I just decided to walk around one day because I was bored sitting around. So we took a trip and we walked around Tulsa and I caught this train. Next, please. This is not a photograph. It's a copy of a painting from the railroad artist Howard Fogg. And he's the same artist that did this image over here of the black and white Frisco, I'm sorry, Rock Island. Apparently he did a lot of work for Alco. He was one of their main contributors for advertising material for that company. And it's a very fascinating story about him and Alco, which I won't get into, but it's worth looking up. Howard Lockhart Fogg, very interesting man, a World War II ace, kind of. He shot down a lot of Germans. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Could you go back one? I just want to say this was in Denison, and that's the Eisenhower house in the background. So if you go there today, you will see that they left a few pieces of rail and tie, and it left me wondering, well, I wonder what went by here. So now, through the purchase of this piece, I found out. Yes, sir. Very close friends. Mr. Berger and Mr. Fogg were friends. In fact, he did a lot to help his career go forward, probably more than anybody else did. He gave him that. I think Mr. Berger was very famous for reviving almost dead railroads. So he got a lot of business through that connection. Next, please. Rock Island, one of my favorites. Next, please. Does that look familiar? Where have you seen that before? Oh, yes, right there. That's right. So when I first came here, I really thought that was a really interesting picture. Where is it? Well, I took a picture of it, and again, I put it on the Rock Island group on Facebook. Boom! All these people give me willingly and very graciously all kinds of information about this photo, which to me that adds provenance to the actual piece. So apparently, this was a location where the Rock Island and a few others would do publicity pictures because it's a nice sweeping curve. There's nice plants in the background, and you had favorable sun during a certain part of the day. So they utilized this location for a lot of their publicity photos. And you are fortunate enough to have a very nice rendition of that in your club. Next, please. Back to Tower 55. Again, this is for the Rock Island. They weren't quite in the bankruptcy blue phase. You're familiar with what that was? I'm sure you are if you're a Rock Island fan. So again, he probably stood here all day long, and whatever came down the track, he shot, just like he did in Cajon Pass. We had thousands of slides from Cajon Pass that it made your eyes cross. There were so many. Next, please. That's the same train crossing the diamond there. And it's from an interesting perspective. If he would have just panned a little bit further over, you would have caught the Texas Pacific building in the frame. Unfortunately, he didn't get that, or he did. And we just don't have that slide. It didn't make it to us. But I thought it was an interesting shot anyway because of the signal configuration, Missouri Pacific, Rock Island. Kind of gives you an idea of what happened. And plus, it's hard to see, but it actually says Tower 55. So that didn't need a lot of research for that one. But thank you, Ken, anyway. Next slide. This is a friend of mine, Mr. Weeks. He was a friend of my mom's at work. My mother and he worked together for the bus company in Los Angeles, and I did not know it at the time, but Mr. Weeks was an avid rail fan, and from a very young age, he had gone on excursions all around the country and photographed all kinds of things. In 2010, I had the opportunity to scan his collection, and from that, I got these Rock Island images, and we have since done 2 books with Mr. Weeks's work. Nothing on the Rock Island, but again, people went nuts. I put this on the Rock Island page, and they just went nuts for this photo. They just something about it was special to them. I'm not sure what it was, but it got a lot of likes. Mr. Weeks couldn't exactly remember where he shot it. He did have the date, but he didn't remember where he shot it. So that's what makes today so special, is that you have this vast knowledge of information about things that the creators have forgotten or they mislabeled. There have been cases where the creator thought that they shot it there with all this gaggle of other people say, no, that's actually over here. Next, please. And this was one of them. Mr. Weeks thought this was in Tucumcari, and that's what I labeled it as when I put it on the Rock Island side. All these people, no, you've got that all wrong. That's El Reno. And the people were giving me GPS coordinate location. They were sending me pictures of the grain elevator in the background because, I thought it was Tucumcari because they do have a grain elevator in the background, but it's on the other side of the track. He sent me the comparison of the two. It's like Perry Mason. Now we're in court, and no, I'm sorry, Mr. Berger, you're wrong. This is the real okay. And it's great because people don't get upset about it, and it really widens the knowledge and it gives the image more provenance. And it's important in the future that these things are labeled properly so people know what their history is. So that's kind of what I do. I don't really, as you know, not really a modeler. I'm just kind of like this amateur historian trying to put together the story of the image with the person or the location for posterity. That's kind of what I do. Next, please. Oh, this is the rear end of that same train. And look at that piece of equipment. It's a dome with a baggage door on the back of an RDC and an RDC 2, not even RDC 1, which had also a baggage compartment. But where else on the Rock Island would you ever see something like that? And I thought historically, I thought it was pretty funny. And Mr. Weeks told me that obviously he wasn't getting off or not obviously, he was not, El Reno was not his final destination. So the conductor, you look at, he's kind of like standing here like, get on the train, buddy. And I was like, what is this guy doing? So he got off the train, took a shot front and rear, got back on the train. Next, please. This is my only Rock Island shot. And I happened to capture their business car 100 in Denver, Colorado, when I went to visit the museum that they have here. I've long since forgotten the name and I didn't bother to look it up. But, it was 1977, so I was somewhere in my 20s. Actually, I was 20, now that I think about it. So I was really excited to see a Rock Island piece of equipment because we don't get Rock Island equipment, let alone a business car. So I had to scurry on over there and shoot that. And this is their bankruptcy blue. I do remember it smelling like brand new paint. So it probably just gotten out of the shop. Being that it's 1977, I think they were trying to reemerge and rebrand themselves as something other than the failure that unfortunately they became. And I mean that in the nicest way. Next, please. Santa Fe. I'm sure nobody wants to see these pictures, right? No Santa Fe fans here? Oh, you'll have to suffer through. Next slide, please. Oh, where's this? So I think by the afternoon, he was kind of getting friendly with the tower guys. So this is a little bit of an elevated view. He's obviously standing on the stairs, shooting down a little bit at the tower, going with a favorable light, because I saw, not that we necessarily had them, but I saw no pictures that were taking facing the south, because that would have been sun directly into the lens and wouldn't have made for a good color photo. But excuse me? That's correct. I said I didn't see a view south. That's okay. That's all right. I just can't hear you from way back there. Oh, you hired out on Ed. Oh, okay. There you go. We have a veteran in the back here. Please come forward. That's okay. All right. Next, please. Okay, this is another one of these. Where the hell was this taken? There's no significant landmarks that I would recognize. There's no buildings. So what did I do? Put it on the Santa Fe internet. Again, people were sending me GPS coordinates, pictures from Google Earth, showing me the mesa in the background, telling me wow, this is really great. They could even kind of guess, although the slide was dated 1975, they also said that that's about the era that this was. And it's interesting how they figure that out, because it's hard to see in this photo, but the two B units here are painted in the yellow bonnet scheme. Very difficult to see because it's at such an angle. So they had made their way all the way out from San Bernardino, where they were painted, for Amtrak service in 1971. And here, it was only a short time that they were leased to Amtrak. Believe me, I didn't know this until a few weeks ago. And so they ended up on this lonely freight train. Oh. I thought that was kind of interesting. For all you Santa Fe modelers, you can put your blue bonnets with yellow bonnet B units. And that's part of what this book is about, because everybody has a very strict idea, oh, these were only with this and that only happened. No, a lot of these photos bust a lot of myths, and that's why we thought this was kind of an important book. Next, please. Again, I don't know where this is. And same story. I put it on Facebook, Santa Fe Historical Society. I get the same reaction. If I get 5 people to say the same thing, I go with that. If I have one dissenter, that's out. I go with the 5. I go with the majority. So the best I can do. Next. This is actually the same place looking in the opposite direction. So I would imagine that there was another slide in this collection that included the name of the depot somewhere. But unfortunately, if this is getting to be repetitive, my practice of putting these things on the internet and have all these people help me out, that's exactly what happened. But there's no other way I could think of other than trolling through every Santa Fe book to find out where this was shot. And usually within a day, I get a lot of answers. Next, please. Somebody on the Santa Fe group knew that these engines were assigned to Cleburne. Did I say that right? Cleburne? Okay, thank you. I have a tendency to say Claiborne, and everybody, no, that's not it. So I'm working on it, working on my Texan. So anyway, I thought that was fascinating because nobody had ever dated or located a photo based on the engine number. So I don't know, that's pretty conclusive, I guess. And yes, sir. Oh, can you go back one, please? Yes. I don't know. I think it might have something to do with house air for passenger trains. I don't know. I'm guessing. And they didn't want anybody to run it over into the, and that is a total guess. I don't know.
It's like air hoses down the bottom.
I don't
I
know.
think you're.
I don't know. You know what? I will repost it and I will ask that question. Maybe I'll get an answer by next month. Yes, sir. Oh, I'll repeat your question. Ah, okay. Great. So I was just informed that the Brownwood Depot is now a museum. And do they serve food at the old Harvey House, or is it just for display? Oh, okay. So you can get married at the Brownwood Depot if you so desire. Not you personally, but you in general. So that's good information. So it's still with us. It's still active. It's still intact and it's being used. Those are all good things. Next, please. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Next. There you go. Oh, Joe McMillan, prolific photographer, professional railroader for the Santa Fe. Another image that I ended up with it because it was somehow ended up in Mr. Gaudier's collection. And Joe is prolific with this information. He was very good. Location, date. In some cases, he writes the day, the time of day, and f-stop and shutter speed. So that's information that is golden. Next, please. The yellow bonnet. So what drew me to this photo was the fact that there's an interesting little modeling detail I want to point out. The MU cable draped over the bottom headlight. That's pretty cool. That's what attracted me to publish this photo because I'd never seen that before. It seems rather careless, but this is railroading. This is the real thing. So maybe it was just draped across there for temporarily, but I thought that was an interesting detail that I personally had never seen a photo of. So that's kind of how I choose photos. If I see some detail or unusual occurrence or the locomotive's in a weird place, I tend to publish those photos more so than just your beauty shot. Next, please. We'll skip this. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Next slide, please. Oh, he's not here today. I was hoping Stu was going to be here. Stu lent me about a dozen slides to scan and restore. And that's a good thing because this image was starting to lose its emulsion. It was flaking off. There's nothing you could really do about it other than hurry up and scan it. And then you put the pieces back together, so to speak. And this is a great Kodachrome slide from Lordsburg, New Mexico. And again, the SP guys helped me date this photo as being about 1948. And there's so many things going on. This would make a great painting. Deborah, where's Deborah? This would make a great painting. Oh, I'm becoming your art director here. So if you want a JPEG of this, I'll send it to you. Not twisting your arm, just suggesting. Next, please. I think Stu's dad shot these pictures. This is also in Lordsburg. Beautiful Kodachrome, but it also had the same problem where it was losing its emulsion. It was flaking off. That happens with older Kodachromes that are not properly stored. When I mean properly, I mean they're not in a Logan box. They're in archival slide pages that are 20 per sheet. So much easier to see, so much easier to store and handle, and it doesn't off-gas plastic or cardboard or bugs into your image, and it lasts a lot longer. Next, please. And there's Stu.
Go kidding.
Yes. Isn't that? I was so hoping he was going to be here today. I thought he would have been surprised. But again, it's such a great photo. I mean, a carefree day being a kid. I had another shot of him in a cupola of a caboose up and leaning out. I didn't include that because I wanted to make it a short show, but what's that? Oh, okay. I'll make a print. Yeah, good idea. Thank you. Yes, he usually sits right there. Oh, okay. Isn't that great though? You know what he looks like now, but it's like, hey, I bet he can't even do that anymore. So neither could I. Next, please. Oh, another builder's photos from the Schenectady plant. And this one had lost a lot of color. And when I usually faced with that, I don't try to turn it into an illustration. I just kind of leave it the way it is and scan it. And maybe someday I'll go back and I'll have AI color it in. But it's the same format as the image that's being passed around there, 8x10 Kodachrome. Excuse me? I didn't hear the question. No, it's as close as I could get it in the amount of time without turning it into an illustration. So I tend to not really like to do colorization. That really rubs me the wrong way because the person doing it, no matter what degree they have in art or history, or whatever, they're guessing. And it's going to throw a bad twist into the future by assuming, because the color photo is going to be a whole lot more popular than the black and white. And people are going to see that as opposed to the. Oh, yeah, it's easy to do. Yeah. Oh, well, I'd be happy to send it to you. Next, please. And then, of course, I knew I had this shot, but I didn't know it was also of St. Louis Southwestern 308. So you saw the delivery photo. This is the photo of it working at Dallas Junction. So I thought that was kind of an interesting coinkydink because I don't even know what I have. I have too many. But I label them and I catalog them. So if I'm searching for a specific thing, these two images will come up. So makes my job so much easier and more fun and entertaining. Ah, yes, Kansas City Southern. Next, please. Yeah, next, please. Ooh, bad wreck. So this is from an Alcione dupe set. And unfortunately, those of you who bought those sets, you know, it came with a little piece of paper, right? And it told you what each slide was. Well, I don't have that piece of paper. So I put it on the Kansas City, Kansas City Southern site, and I didn't get a lot of response. But in the background, it says Joplin Foundry. So I have to assume this is Joplin, Missouri. And I looked up articles, Joplin train wreck, Kansas City Southern. I got a different train wreck that was a whole lot more horrific than this one. So that's kind of the danger of AI because it gave me a date of 1955. And I know that's not true because, well, locomotives weren't built till 1960. So it's going to get better, but it's not there yet. AI, that is. Next, please. An unknown location, again, at Alcione Duke. I think this is probably Kansas City. Does anybody know, familiar with the landscape? So would you agree that it's Kansas? Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So I can say with absolute confidence, it's Kansas City. Okay, next, please. Again, I didn't live out here, but I did. I had relatives that live in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and we made a few trips out there during my lifetime. And one of the times was in 1998, where I met this gentleman, Johnny Marietta, who was intimately involved as a locomotive and car equipment reseller and purchaser. So we had dinner, and he said, "Hey, would you like to go look at the shops?" Oh, really? Well, okay, sure. So I'm not big on trespassing, but I said, don't worry about it. Everybody knows me. So we went here at night. There wasn't a soul around. We walked in. We were probably there for an hour, maybe longer. I took all the pictures I wanted to take. We didn't kill ourselves, so nobody was the wiser. And I had a really good time. So as much as I was trespassing, I don't encourage that, but in this time and place, you could get away with it. Next, please. And there's the shops. So I had the whole place to myself. And Mr. Marietta was quite a character. He had Kansas City Southern business car on his property. He, in his lifetime, was a procuring agent for the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. So he would buy and sell cars for the circus and acquire things. And he acquired this a Kansas City Southern car for his own personal, which he stuffed with all this amazing artifacts. That's a whole nother story for another time. But we became friends over a period of time, and he took me on this journey. Next, please. Occasionally, one of these KCS units makes it out to California. I was on assignment for BNSF to shoot something completely different, and this came rolling around the bend, and it's an unusual place because the tracks are really high in Goffs because of the undulation of the terrain, and it just frames the locomotive with the sky. So it's a kind of a striking, dramatic, no background kind of shot, which is why we went to this location, because we wanted the same look for a different train that was coming through. Well, anyway, next, please. And rail fanning with a friend of mine from Washington State. He wanted to do some stuff in Louisiana, so we met in Houston, and he took me to this location. He did his drone thing, and I did my still thing, and I don't want to ever go back to a swamp. Just saying. Next, please. This is in Beaumont, Texas, with the lift bridge, which is really amazing. I'd never seen a lift bridge operate. And we did get a boat going through there at the time we spent there. And it's pretty amazing. You think it just goes, right? No, it takes a long time. So that probably remains open for about 20 minutes. And then the ship eventually goes through. Then it has another period of waiting, and then it eventually goes down. And by the way, we knew the train was coming because he would put his drone up in the air and fly it down a mile or two. There's a headlight. Here comes the train. So we were doing train spotting with a drone. Next, please. A shot. Now, this thing, I have to admit, this was heavily photoshopped. because there was all these ugly wires in front of it, and I removed a whole lot of them. But to me, it's kind of what I do for a living, or I did do for a living, make ugly places look a little bit better. And that was a beautiful Art Deco building that they have in Beaumont, Texas, and I thought it was I didn't get rid of the pole because to do the intricate work on the locomotive, I'm not being paid for this, so no, I'm not going to do that. So I left it with one pole. Next, please. This got a lot of responses. People went nuts. I put this on the Texas Railroad History Facebook page. And boy, did I get a lot of information on that. People were very interested. People would send me links to what this was and what happened to it. And apparently the railroad is still around. This is in, as you can see, Dublin, Texas. And my wife we were going to the show last night, and we came across this photo, and she says, that station looks like it's somewhere in Europe. It's very European looking. I said, sweetheart, it's Dublin, Texas. Get the connection. So she even saw the European connection in the architecture, which I thought was fascinating. Next, please. Texas Southeastern, one of the logging railroads. And I have to admit that when I came to Texas, I had no idea they had logging railroads, because I had the same bad concoction in my head that Texas is all about cowboys and the deserts. And no, it could be, as it was at one time, its own country, and it had a lot of different terrain. So I'm slowly learning that and incorporating it in my railroad history knowledge, along with all the other knowledge that I can gain from driving around Texas. Next, please. So I was doing a lecture in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I met this fellow who was part of this group that is restoring this locomotive, and he asked if I would take pictures of it being transported on a flatbed. So I couldn't turn that down. So we met, and I followed the carpool. Next, please. And there it is. Kind of an interesting picture, not something you see every day. Going down a little tiny highway on its way to in this case, on its way to Nacogdoches. Gosh, it was going to Rusk as his final rusting and restoration place. So that's where it was headed. Next, please. This is another view that ran on trains.com. And thank you, Trains, for not telling me to use the photo. But I'm not complaining. They did at least credit me. But anyway, I donated all these pictures to the group and let them use it for whatever they want. But again, it's a unique photo, and it's not something you see every day. Steam engine going down the road on a flatbed. Next, please. So in process of transporting it, the vehicle made a wrong turn, and he attempted a U-turn, which blew out 4 tires. And it limped its way off of the highway and got to a vacant lot, and there was no moving forward. So they had to wait till the next day for a truck to come and change all the tires with the steam locomotive on it. Next, please. So there you go. There are the blown out tires. And boy, you can see that there was no getting that off easy. The truck driver certainly didn't have a lift capable of handling the trailer with a load on it. Next, please. And that is it. This is also AI. This is the other version, but this is the diesel version of AI. Any question? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Steve, very much. Appreciate it. Great presentation. Okay, so it's picnic time. So if you would just go around the layout on the right and form a line, and the ops crew will have the hot dogs and hamburgers there for you. And if you didn't hear me the first time, just form a line around the layout on the right and funnel through behind to the kitchen.